Hello, everybody. Are we there? Just one sec. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Can you just type a 1 if you can hear us? Oh, yeah, I think we're good. Hello. Well, welcome everybody to our live stream. We're super lucky today, all of us, to have this amazing panel of preppers here. Oh, thanks so much. Hey, Jeannie. Hey, Ripley. How's it going over in Chilliwack? We got Annie, KK Martin down in Lafayette. How are you doing? Gary up in Northwest BC. Oh, so good to see you guys. So this is the first panel on this channel, so thank you so much for being here and also for bearing with me learning the ropes of hosting something like this with these wonderful channels. So as you can see, we have some amazing guests here. We have Guardian Prepping, who's over in South Africa, and also Guardian's on Instagram if you're on there, and I get so much fitness motivation from Guardian. Lots of good posts there, and of course that is such an important prep for us all to have is fitness. There's also a really good hardtack survival food video recently, so definitely check that out. We've got Shadow over in Sweden, so it's I guess 9 p.m. over there, so thank you for talking to us at this late hour of your evening. And a video just came out about a survival fishing kit, so definitely check that out. I also want to know from you later, how are you liking the BioLite camp stove that you ordered? I saw the unboxing. I'd like to know more. And then we also have Arkwildman Survival down in Arkansas. And just so happy that you're here. I saw that amazing video of you creating that what was it, hardtack food that you made. So please, I'd love to know more about that. I just want to look here in the comments. Again, of course, we've got Abitibi, who's in British Columbia, Cryptomeria, Lewis over in Ontario. Ripley's complimenting Guardian already, so we're off to a good start. And we've got Annie over in Pennsylvania, and then of course Jeannie, our friend in Toronto, or not Toronto, in Ontario. So thank you so much for coming over here. Oh, look, we've got Stingy Prepper too from Bulgaria. How's it going? Good to see you guys. So Guardian, you want to tell us a little bit about where you're at right now?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you for allowing me up on the panel, and it's really great to see everybody. As you are going through some of the channels as well, you know, Shadow Scout and Arkwildman are both people that I really have a lot of time for. And if you guys haven't checked out those channels, absolutely do so. Shadow Scout runs almost like a prepper club type of thing on a Saturday evenings where he does these live streams, and a whole bunch of people join, and he does them for quite a while. So I'll let him introduce himself as well. I don't want to say too much about him, but definitely somebody that I've got a lot of time for as well. And then Arkman is a brother of mine as well, like so much knowledge and somebody that really supports the emergency preparedness community. So both incredibly good guys. I'll let them introduce themselves. But for myself, I just really have been into preparedness now for about 10 years. And I was a scout before then as well. And I was a cub when I was in my early teens. I went through the Cubs, Scouts, and then through, and I still do quite a lot of Scouts as well. I'm involved within the Scouts locally and the crime prevention as well. That's what I do specifically. And then with my prepping, I've been prepping for about 10 years. I specifically enjoy like traveling. I love traveling a lot, and I really enjoy a lot of your alternative sports. I absolutely love different sports as well and just keeping fit. And then I see prepping in a lot of ways as making sure that you have the motivation to keep your body and your mind healthy. And I think that is one of the best preps that you can have. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm from South Africa. and got a bit of a strange accent. I love your guys' accents on the panel, and then I sound like, I don't know, I have a lot of questioning about my own accent. But anyway, enough about me. A bit about you guys, if you guys want to precede me as well. If you want to go, Shadow, if you want to go and hit up the chat and let them know a bit about yourself.
Why not? Well,
Lovely.
as you said, Guardian, my channel is about prepping and some outdoors, but I wish it could be more of that. But well, you need the opportunity and possibilities, time, and find the right spot and everything. But mostly it is about prepping and survivalism. So, and as you said, also, Guardian, is that I have my streams at Saturdays, and they are usually begins at 8 o'clock, and they have a tendency to stretch over 4.5, 5, 6, 7 hours. That is one stream I did was 7 hours, 53 minutes something. That was really exhausting, but fun. And I have a lot of good people on my streams too, so.
Yeah, I don't know, you want to go ahead, Arkwildman? And I also just want to back up what Shadow Scout's saying there. He really does have an awesome community. Go for it, Arkman.
I mostly do like wild foraging and wild edibles and wild medicals, mushroom plants, and I have a church in the wild woods on Sunday for those that like to attend a setting outside, not be inside. And I think spiritual prep is just as important as physical prep.
Whose chickens are those? Are those yours, Ark?
Probably mine.
You're already living the life, having a bit of a homestead is something that's ultimately a really good prep. So I love the sound of them. Whenever I hear chickens and like a farm, it's a bit of a farm ambience. I love that. It's really good.
Can you tell us a bit about your last video with that thing that you made? Will you tell us about it?
Talking to me?
Yep.
I made in Scandinavian countries, they ate the tree bark from the pine tree, made it into flour, and made breads and kind of like hardtack, like a hard cracker. And that's what got them through the hard times of famine. And I just wanted to try it. And so I took and baked the pine bark, because you got to have it real dry to grind. And then I made hardtack out of it.
And so
I think
how did it?
Sorry, go ahead, Vanzetti.
No, I was just gonna say, how did it taste for you?
It was earthy, real earthy, because I mixed it with almond flour, and it's really quite good with honey.
So we've got Lewis here now as well, who is expert in making all sorts of tea and long-term preps, all sorts of stuff. Do you want to introduce yourself, Lewis?
Hey, it's Lewis. Yeah, I've seen Arkman there on a few channels there. I'm out in Ontario, about 3 hours from Toronto, northwest of Toronto. I try to do a little bit of everything there, some prepping and stuff like that for myself.
Nice.
Welcome to the panel. Hi.
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks.
I wanted to ask, how concerned are you about the American trucker shortages?
Well, right now where I'm at, I'm not seeing a whole lot of shortages, but that would make a big impact.
Yeah. What are there any shortages where you are, Guardian?
Well, yeah, electricity is pretty unstable, so our grid is kind of rough. So we have to prep for that, consistently, and just kind of make sure that we have gas to be able to cook certain foods, and a lot of candles everywhere, and then like focus a lot of our preps around solar. That's like a big shortage that occurs here locally is electricity. So yeah, that's quite a big one, and then sometimes when things get a bit rough, like they did last year, the year before last, yeah, things get a bit rough in those. When things get a bit rough, our shortages, our food supplies, as you know, that you see in the rest of the world, are replicated here to a degree as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Shadow, can you tell us a little bit about what weather events that you prep for over in Sweden?
Well, the problem here is the winter time is, well, the biggest worry here, biggest issue, because we get really cold winters here. We can get somewhere between 25 to 30 minus, so that makes everything more difficult to if the grid goes down in the winter time, so that will be a huge issue, because this apartment is already cold at winter time, and at summertime we can have from the normal summer temperature here is from 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, but I have been seeing temperature up to 33 degrees here, so it's really a problem here as well. So, but the winter time is more problematic.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to point out, we've got a couple people here in the chat. Nene's Prepping Kitchen. If you aren't already following Nene's Prepping Kitchen, check her out. It's awesome stuff. There's pantry food ideas, prepper hauls, things like that. And then we also have Moments with Us. It looks like she's picking her kids up from school, but she is in New Jersey, and it's a great channel, a real finger on the pulse of what's going on in supermarkets in the US. So check out that channel for sure. And I was wondering, does anybody have an opinion about the brand of water filter that you're pretty excited about? Because I see a lot of people commenting to stock water. We often post these videos about things to stock up on the store. People always say, don't forget to buy lots of water. And I'm more of the mindset of, there's no point having water stored up is a little bit finite. You need a renewable source of water. So what do you guys use for that?
Do you want to go on this one first, Clark? Do you want to answer that?
Pardon?
Sorry, I was just asking if because the guest that's relatively new, I just wanted to. Who's the new guest, by the way? What is your name? Sorry, I don't want to mistake that.
Oh, it's Lewis.
Lewis, yeah. Do you have can I follow you somehow? Is there a channel that I can bring up that I'll be able to check out your content? Because I'd love to do that. And I wanted to find out if you would like to answer the question about water filters. Myself, personally, it's just a Sawyer, but go ahead.
I'm on a well. So I got two filters that I buy. Well, one's a pre-filter, and I just rinse it out because it's got those small fins in it. And then I buy another one, regularly, and I change that one out every other month. But if I had to do it old school, you know, the Berkeley system there, I would just take that water filter that I have that I rinse out and put it, get some PCV piping for the top bucket. You need like 2 5-gallon pails, one sitting on top of the other one. And that PCV piping has to sit, like it's got like a little circle about yay around in the middle of that filter. And then I would have it go into the lid of the other 5-gallon bucket and let it slowly, and then put some like sand and charcoal in there in the bottom of the top bucket, and then pour water into it and let it filter like that, and then take it from that second bucket, boil it, and if I had to store it long term, about a drop of bleach for every gallon. And then that would give you the long term storage, right? But it's got to be, you should be careful of that too, right? Where you have it sitting, like it can't be on cement, it can't be on any pressure treated wood. Non-pressure treated wood is okay. But every so often you should go and check it out, like say every 6 months. If you're like starting it from new, like if you're doing it like brand new that way, so you can judge the water, right? So if you try it and you don't get sick from it, try it at 7 months, then 8 months, so that you know how long that water is good for drinkable stuff, right? So that's how I would. Yeah.
Just to be able to test it so that you can test the limit. Like that's really intelligent to do that as well. That makes sense.
Yeah. But up here in like I've got in my area, there's I live the next town over has got this river called the Grand River, and then from the Grand River there's a whole bunch of reservoirs that when the water on the Grand River gets really high, the reservoirs will hold the water until the water gets low. So it's like maybe 5 minutes for me by foot, and then just go there, come back with a whole bunch of water if I have to.
It's good to think ahead.
Yeah, but I believe, like, because if we ever have a power outage or whatever, my well's done, right? It's not going to work. So I believe in the old school if I have to.
Yeah, do you also... Sorry, go ahead, Arkwildman. Sorry.
I have like 3 wells and a spring and also a river close by, and I've drunk out of the river all my life. So, and I store water from the well, you know, in case of powder outage too. So it's always good to have water on hand.
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of 5-gallon pails for myself and my dog. Plus, I got toilet bowl water that are stored in peanut butter containers and vinegar containers, right? Because you don't have to filter that stuff or do anything to it, right? It's just going down the toilet. But yeah, I've heard other people. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, sorry, I'm just putting my cam just for 30 seconds real quick. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say, so it must have not been all that important.
This is the first time we had an interview with Titan Preparedness channel, but this is the first time there's been a group. So thank you for everybody for stopping by, and also for, the first time of figuring out how it works to do a group. There's lots of people here, and we really appreciate all of you guys stopping by. We've got Paul, we've got River Runner, Ripley, Annie's here, Forgotten Vale, Martin down in the States. What's the weather like where you are, Gary? Still lots of snow and rain. Anyways, yeah, thanks for joining. And as soon as I figure out how to get everyone's banner, everybody here on the chat has a channel, so definitely got to check out all these really great channels. It spans all sorts of expertise here. So I did want to know about how many of you guys are growing summer crops. We grow basically all our own vegetables, as you know, as soon as we can start planting stuff. We do have some winter crops, but you may have noticed if you follow our channel that we've been traveling internationally, so we got back to some of it covered in snow. Our lettuce and that sort of thing, our greens are covered in snow, but we are ramping up our indoor stuff soon to get it moving outside. So I was just wondering, anyone else passionate about growing food and want to share with us anything about that?
Well, this year I have begun to think that I'm gonna try to grow something, at least tomatoes for a start, and some spice, basil, thyme at a start on my balcony.
Yeah.
So I had planned for that for a long time, but I didn't. I guess it wasn't the right time, so I might think I will try to do it this year, at least. You have to begin somewhere.
Yeah.
Have you tried herbs because of space? Have you tried like just a certain amount of herbs or maybe microgreens? Microgreens can be really good for more compact areas as well. It's something that a friend of mine introduced me to in the beginning of last year, and I tried that out. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm familiar with microgreens as well, but I'm glad you mentioned it again, Guardian. I will look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, we can definitely chat sometime about it as well if you're interested. I'd love to speak a little bit more about that and show you like the adventure that I took, a little bit of an adventure regarding microgreens and just seeing how that works out, because there's quite a lot of nutrition and you can have them in a very compact place. So it's quite nice about them as well.
Mm-hmm.
That
I don't know
would be
about, yeah, that'd be good. I don't know about you guys. If I only could grow one vegetable in this area of southwestern British Columbia, I would probably do kale, because I think even just 2 kale plants produce so many leaves that I can add it to food on a regular basis. So that would be a bare minimum. Of course, growing way more is better, but in terms of resiliency, effort level, yield, I mean, they just go forever. So that's one of my favorites. If I didn't have the space here and was in a, really small, I'd probably just have a pot with a couple of kale plants in it.
You ever do kale chips?
You betcha. Do you?
I've had them for you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're super easy. And then, of course, you can dehydrate the kale really easily.
It can be a bit of an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I know that some people enjoy kale quite a lot, but I find it a little bit challenging to enjoy. Hi, by the way. Welcome to the panel.
Oh, sorry.
Hello.
Hey there. I'm actually out in my vehicle right now because it's a lot quieter.
Nice to meet you.
We've got Nene's Prepping Kitchen here. So glad that you're here. Wonderful channel down the States. Keeps, bringing these wonderful ideas. I love watching your videos. So thank you for joining us.
Hey, not a problem. Thanks for having me.
What's the weather like down there, Nene?
It is like very cold. It's supposed to be below 0 tonight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the video that you just did?
The video, I have one coming out tomorrow where I went to a Save-A-Lot And the one I just did was that was on a Dollar Tree haul.
Mhm.
And most everything in the store is now $1.25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed the store here hadn't gone up yet. Just the other day, we were told it was going to go up, but it hadn't. But any day now, and I noticed on Poplar Preparedness, he was talking about how, if it hasn't gone up in your area and you go get it, you can definitely save a lot of money by, well, you're saving 25% by stocking
Right.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, the shelves were stocked really good when I went in there, but everything was higher for sure, so end up
yeah,
spending a little bit more,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
still good to go there and be able to get everything cheaper than going to, maybe Walmart or something like that. So,
Do you currently have, Nene, I wanted to ask, do you currently have a rotation with your canned goods and that type of thing? Do you have
yep, I
do you have
do.
like a
Yeah,
rotation that
I
you're doing?
use and put whatever I use back on the shelf.
Nice. Yeah. That's something that took me a while to get used to just actually become comfortable with. I only started really doing it about 4 years ago, where I try and keep at least like 3 months of rotational cans, and then we end up eating like some of the quote unquote more canned survival food more often. That's why we
Mhm.
try to make, the food that we do store like at least delicious and not just like one type, not for example, not just canned beans everywhere, because then it's going to get really unpleasant. So we've actually started to have a bit of variety and do that on rotation as well. So I just wanted to find out if you also have that process in place, with the rotation.
Yes, most definitely.
So good. Yeah.
And I'm trying to maybe, like start writing it down so I have a better idea, of what I'm using and what I need to replace it with, and maybe do it in a journal.
Yeah. That makes sense. My wife is
Yeah.
really good at cataloging. My wife will catalog most of the things. She's actually a lot better than I am at it. I'm pretty good at walking up to the shops or either walking up to the shops or riding the bicycle and going to go get more of the groceries. That's what I'm better at. She's more better at and like packing away the groceries, where she's like pretty good at just management and making sure that we don't run out of things, So it's pretty
Right,
useful.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
for
a
sure.
guy thing and a woman thing. Us guys tend to
It might be,
grab stuff off the shelves and that's it, right?
right. And also go with a list. And then, like, what's funny is I'll be walking around in the shopping center with like a list of exactly what I'm supposed to get to like replace, right? And I see other guys also with their list, and it's just funny because that like we're just out there, busy doing the modern day version of hunting, right, for the family.
Yeah,
It's
when
terrible.
the pandemic started, I had my mom help me out with a lot of that stuff because I live alone, right?
Yeah.
And she came here and she just about died from like, this is out of date, that's out of date. How you live, right? And I don't know. I just take the stuff off the shelves in the store without realizing it, and I bring it home and hope for the best, right? So she showed me, right? My dad owned his own meat factory, and he says, the best before dates your dad put on the packages and all that. You have to look on everything, right? And because I also started pressure canning and water bathing, right? And she said, yeah, although I'm scared of the pressure canner exploding, you got to treat it just like that and 10 times more because of the botulism in it, right? But when her mom, my grandma there, what she would do when she did all that stuff was you know, the screw lids are the part that you can screw off, and then the part that seals off. She would,
Yeah.
my grandma would unscrew the lid just like maybe just so that you can pick up the whole can, right? So that if the seal would ever go and you didn't know about it, it would start growing stuff in there. And so that when it goes and it starts growing stuff, you know that can is bad. You don't need it. You'll just toss it out, right? Because it doesn't, like, you know, sometimes when you're doing it at home, and it seals and it's 24 hours later, it's okay, fine, and whatever. But you go to put it away in your rotations 2 months later, the seal goes and it's all the way down. That's when it can create botulism. And that way you can also, I found, you can also, if they're up, like you unscrew it just enough, like it, so it's like still holds the whole jar, you can double stack it as well too, because the top, you're not supposed to, but because that screw is up, that screw lid is up just a bit, the next jar that's sitting on top isn't sitting on that seal as well too. It's sitting on that screw lid, which is just above that sealed plate, just enough that the weight won't affect it any which way. So
There's
but yeah, like I always,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say I've watched the process a couple of times, but for myself as well, I'm pretty novice. I've helped people do it out at the farm, at extended family of ours, but I haven't done it myself. I've just watched it a whole bunch. So just I think doing that is something that I also would like to maybe do later this year as well. And as you're saying, you know, all the processes that you're speaking about, just understanding the safety concerns as well, to prevent botulism. I understand that that's imperative as well. So it's something that that is going to be good as a mental, just as a reminder when going into that this year. So it's appreciated.
Yeah, because I've had salmonella before, right? Just working for the old man, working with raw chicken and stuff. You get some up the nose or in the mouth, or you forget to wash your hands, right? Coming out of the coolers or whatever, right? And that's not fun, man. It's just not. You're sick every which way possible, right? And to get botulism, you're pretty much you're gonna die, right, from it.
Well, there's also the experience that I've had with salmonella as well would be that, you know, when I was doing deliveries, I was doing pizza deliveries for a while in my teens. I really loved that job. Got to ride a motorcycle, meet new people. It was everything that I enjoyed. Got to eat a lot of pizza too. That's always great. So anyway, my experience with the pizza deliveries was that if you don't clean the compartments at the back where you do the deliveries, it can actually end up getting salmonella as well. If there's food that's left there. So just food that's left in a dark, damp place. I understand that can be a bit of a concern as well. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why through my experience as a pizza delivery driver, but I always remember it fondly. So I've got to just.
Oh yeah, that's a given when you are doing stuff on a industrial level, right? When you're doing it at home, you're usually cleaning up after yourself right away, and it's when you're cooking or the fridge or whatever, right? And you're in the kitchen, to cook a meal, maybe an hour and a half, unless if it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, right? But on the industrial level, it's 8, 10, 12 hours, and it gets caked on there good, right? And yeah, I remember my dad when the health inspectors were, I don't want to say coming down, but all the new rules and regulations. You had to test the plant here, there, just a sample here, just a sample there, right? And if it showed it, and it's microscopic, right? And it's like testing your pool, right? If you got a pool to see if for stuff, right? You just take a little bit of water, put a couple of drops of chemicals or whatever in it, shake it. If it turns a color, you're good. If you shake it and it's another color, it's not good, right? So imagine after 8 hours of cleaning an entire plant, you shake it, and then the cleaning crew's got to come in and spend another 3 or 4 hours, you know? So it builds up and it takes on pretty good. So, yeah.
That's another thing about organization as well, keeping things in good order and keeping things organized and clean. That's a whole different department when it comes to some of the prepping stuff as well, regarding restoring, having food that you keep in a cool, dry place, as everybody knows, but making sure that you can also just prevent certain insects from getting to it and that as well. Making sure that everything's as sealed tight as possible. So it's important, yeah. I don't know if you want to, Arkman or Shadow, I don't want to feel like, because if it comes to these type of topics, I get so excited and then I end up just rambling. Sorry about that, Van City. I apologize.
Oh no, it's awesome. And I just wanted to mention, I'm trying to figure out how to get everybody's names to show because of course this is the first time doing this, but I just want to mention to everybody that we've got Guardian Prepping in the top middle. We've got Arkwildman Survival. We've got Nene's Prepping Kitchen. We've got Lewis, who has a channel as well. And we also have ShadowScoutSwede from over in Sweden. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and I'll get that sorted out and definitely get it so people can, these are all channels. So there's a lot of really amazing stuff to learn from everybody. So I'll figure out a way to get that out there.
Yeah, mine's relatively new. I got some dog stuff on there. I think I made some chicken and broccoli, which was my and French fries in a air fryer, and then I did a redneck thing on there today. So more will be coming. So.
No, it's all good. A channel always has to start out somewhere, and just the fact that you have that mentality of preparedness is more than enough of a reason for to us to go into further discussion as well. And I'll definitely love to check out your content.
I put it sorry about that. I put my channel thing in the private chat.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll be able to check that out through that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I like to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We've got some really great channels I'm seeing in the comments here. Like I mentioned, we've got Moments with Us in New Jersey. We've got Paul, who has a channel, Paul's channel. He's an emergency food expert. He talks about gear all the time. He also was a previous scout leader, so has lots of experience. He's also down in this Lower Mainland area, so anyone who's local who follows this channel might be interested in that. So I have tried to get Paul to join in here. So just so you know, and then we've also got Raising House and Home. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. The Survival Buzz is here, and another really great channel is Patty's Southern Kitchen. So I can see that in the comments. So definitely, please check out these channels. We will get all the links in there. And I wanted to ask you guys if anybody has a skill, like a prepper skill that they're particularly proud of, that they really wish everybody else would, take up that hobby to learn that skill, almost like a prepper superpower. I think I was sold that dough that Arkwildman Survival made. I mean, or, but anyways, any feedback on that question?
Well, I don't want to be first as to answer this one. I'll let somebody else, but I definitely have a little bit of a ramble to say on that.
To be able to wall forage, I think, for my food.
That's a really good one. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it would have to be sewing. I can't sew worth a darn.
Now, do you have anything that you are proud of, though? Something that, when it comes to prepping, that you feel very comfortable and confident in?
There's a few things, right? Like I worked in the meat industry, and all the way from farming to packaging, like you see in the grocery mall, that'd be number one. So that basically it means is I know how to raise my food, slaughter it, butcher it, package it, vacuum seal it, freeze it, dehydrate it if I have to, freeze dry it, you know. But some of these skills I've gotten off from other preppers too, right? So then it'd be generally stuff around the house like construction, or when I see something going like how to do water filtering, okay, I can do that. Gardening, I can do that. Still working on it. Got to build up a good bed of soil still, you know what I mean? But that's going to take time, right? For my area, because the gravel is like 3 or 4 inches down into the dirt. So I got to add all the yard waste and triple mix and keep building it up every year, right? So that I get that nice, good black soil, right? So
Yeah, get good mulch going. How, by the way, welcome to the panel.
So
Nice.
we'll just take a quick moment. Thank you for sharing, Luce. We have a really special guest, or it's not even guest because it's also his channel. So we've got Mr. Van City Prepper here down in the bottom left, and you recognize his voice in some of the videos, and also as the person flying around in those flood videos. So anyway, he is here, and I definitely would love to figure out how I can put everybody's names, because yeah, there's so many great channels here, and I'm just so glad that you have taken some time to stop by. I also wanted to mention, cheers if you're having a coffee, tea, water. Lewis's case, probably some fancy homemade tea. But yeah, welcome. Hello, Mr. VP. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
yeah,
we can hear you.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Nice to
Nice
meet
to be part of your panel.
I think it is so amazing that you're a pilot. I think that the fact that you fly vehicles is incredible. Like, that is
Really?
so amazing. I just wanted to say that off the bat. I know I'm a bit of a nerd, but I just got to be that person who's just like, wow, you know. It's always something when I was a little kid, I was always like, imagine flying something, and you actually do that. So that's really cool.
Thanks for that. Yeah, it's been a while. I think I've been doing it now this is my 22nd year now.
we got to test those chopper skills of yours.
Oh, yeah?
Come out here, land in my backyard.
Yeah?
And record it.
Yeah.
If you can land in my backyard, you're good, man.
There you go. Just need some coordinates for that one.
It probably wouldn't be the first time. I know some cross-country Canada flights you've had to stop. Will you just tell us about stopping in people's yards sometimes, and what a surprise that would be for them?
Yeah, I had to, we were doing that crossing, was I coming from Ontario, Canada, I think it'd be 2018, bringing a helicopter back from some firefighting work, relocating the aircraft back to British Columbia. And we got caught in some low-level weather. We were following a highway, quite low level, with this Bell 212 helicopter, so it's quite loud. It's kind of like a large two-bladed twin-engine aircraft, so it thumps quite a lot, the rotor sound. Anyway, we ended up landing in this guy's backyard because the weather, the visibility was so low to continue. So my engineer and myself, we landed in this guy's backyard, and he was kind enough to offer us tea and keep us warm for a couple of hours until the weather changed. But he was quite excited to have a helicopter parked on his lawn, essentially.
Yeah, I can imagine he wasn't expecting it, right? It's completely
No way. No, he was pretty excited. It made his day, I think.
I think it's also because you're quite friendly. I think if you were, piloting the helicopter and you come across as such a charismatic person, they're going to be like, oh yeah, of course, sure. It's not like you went over there and we're grumpy or something. You seem like a very positive person, so I think it would be something that adds to the experience.
Well, I think if you're landing on somebody's private property, it's always best to turn up with a smile.
Yeah, 100%.
You never know. Some
Yeah.
people might get hostile at the prospect of somebody dropping in, but he was pretty good.
So Van City brought up prepper superpowers, and then a pilot arrived. A pilot
Oh.
arrives exactly at the right time. Like, that's such a superpower to be able to like fly like vehicles. That's amazing. It's really awesome. I know I've said that already, but I mean, just as a superpower, it's great.
I think I've mentioned this with Mrs. Van City, that I feel like sometimes I have what do they call it, imposter syndrome, because the people my friends and my work colleagues, they're in aviation also. So for me, after a couple of decades of doing it, it's just, for me, it's a job. So I find it flattering, certainly, when people say that, they find it to be, like a superpower or something really special, because for me, it's obviously, it's been a line of work, obviously something I enjoy. So I don't want to take that away from it, but yeah, I guess we all have our choices.
I think 95% of the global population, if any of us had to climb into a helicopter and you say go, I'll be sitting there for hours just be like, please, where's Mr. Van City?
Oh yeah. It's actually funny, because if you were to sit into any helicopter, there is a manual inside any helicopter which will tell you how to start it.
Where do you find that manual, just for future reference? Where do I start looking?
Well, it's often in like a flight bag compartment, or in some aircraft it's under the seat, or yeah. But it'll tell you how to start it. Like, that person should be able to work it out.
That's so good to know. I never knew that. So I'd be getting in the helicopter and just crying for hours, being like, I can't do anything. I can't try this for my friends.
I'm certainly not going to promote people doing that, because as a novice, even if somebody got it started, they certainly wouldn't fare well thereafter.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know that it must have taken a lot of slow processes, so you're not going to encourage people to just go from absolutely ignorant on how to do it compared to like actually getting it in the air. Yeah. Because then it can end badly. Because I mean, getting it up in the air is one thing, right? But like while you're in the air, you need to read through the book completely to be like, how do I land? It's something.
Yeah, I think somebody would be getting themselves into some serious trouble. It would be a one-way trip. Let's put it that way.
So go ahead, Nana.
Oh, I was just going to say, I really don't want to put you on the spot, VP, but since you just showed up, I wanted to ask, can you tell us what your first helicopter job was?
Yeah, I got my license. I grew up, I think it's kind of commonly known now on the channel, I grew up in northwest England, so I grew up on a farm there, a cattle and sheep farm. So that's my, my background is farming. In my early 20s, I went to Australia and carried on some of that farm work in Australia. And then that's where I, after a couple of years of being there, put some money in my pocket, went into aviation as a long-time passion of doing. And my first job was in the north of Western Australia on the big cattle ranches. So we would use the helicopters there to gather and round up the cattle, because the size of the ranches were, the largest property I worked on was close to 1 million acres. And we would have, on that one property alone, there was close to 45,000 head of cattle. So we would use the helicopters, the small 2-seater Robinson helicopters, as basically an aerial motorbike to use, to essentially get us around the property and gather up the cattle for their, their annual mustering, for any, for any other work that the cattle needed doing, processing through the corrals, and getting stuff processed essentially to get onto trucks for slaughter or live export to Indonesia from there. So that was my first job as a pilot.
And can I ask quickly, are you familiar with the Jet 1 project, with those flyable drones? The drones that they got pretty advanced drones that they're called Jet 1, and it's a company that makes drones. And if I just think about it, that could be something that would be able to be utilized in those situations pretty easily. Like, I don't know about the flight time, because I think that's your limitation, but it's quite interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't. That's something to, yeah, that'd be of interest to have a look at. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's JETONE, just Jet One.
Yeah.
If you got some time through the weekend or something like that, even if you bring up an image or something of it, you'll see that it's a pretty advanced project that they're working on, and I love tech like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So to answer Vancity, to answer the question about prepping superpowers and that, which is, I always love the idea and to the question itself. Surprisingly, I've always loved human beings and people, and I think that amongst some of the more basic scout understanding that I have as well, and with the prepping and just being absorbed into the culture as much as I am, and practicing the skills very often, I truly find that communication is definitely something that I find is my strong point, and it's what I do within my career as well. Speaking to people, regardless of where they're from, and getting to know other people, and community building. So I think communication and community building would be my strongest point. I still didn't hear Shadow Scout, I think we're still going to answer, and then Nene, and then if Mr. Vancity, besides for the piloting, do you have another one that you could add as well? I think there's a couple of us that could go through that.
Yeah, I think I'd need to listen to a couple others and have a think about that one.
Yeah. Nene?
My only superpower probably would be making something out of nothing, as far as meals. So I can pretty much take about anything that I find and make something out of it that's going to be edible and taste good.
Resourcefulness.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's really good. Not a lot of people can do that. So to be able to be comfortable in that field is actually really good. You need people that are always going to be able to be resourceful. So it is definitely a superpower in terms of prepping and that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Shadow Scout, do you have what is your secret? You don't need to give us all your secrets, don't worry. But what is one of your secret prepper superpowers in your opinion? I know you're pretty, well, I won't say too much on that, sorry.
Well, I never thought about that before, so I have been sitting here and just thinking, and the first thing that comes up in my mind was that I can stay hidden if I want to, and nobody would not see me at all. And I'm pretty good at. I can't say I'm an expert, but I'm pretty good at camouflage. So when I was in the army, we had we dig our hole and put our sandbags in a half moon shape, and we got our orders to camouflage it. And when we were done with it, I did it. My captain and lieutenant, he was so impressed by what I have done, because you couldn't see it wasn't even a sandbag. It was like a nice hill that just nice perfectly. So, well, if you can call that a superpower, fine with me.
Well, I think superpower is such a good way to phrase it, because the thing is, a lot of people do have certain skills that they've spent a lot more time and feel a lot more comfortable within as well. So I think like that, so I definitely think with what you're saying, concealment is incredible. Concealment is a really good one. It's definitely, everybody, that's the thing. Part of Desiderata, one of the things that I try and live by is Desiderata, one of the things it says is all persons know something that you don't. So no matter who you come across, basically they'll be able to teach you something. So it's about finding those as well, finding traits of other people that kind of add and complement to a group's dynamic in general.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's I love that.
I know I didn't want it to be dead space, so I'm always somebody that'll like fill it up with my rambling. So I do apologize. I don't mean to like go on and ever or something like that, or speak too much. But I really enjoy these topics and these conversations about prepping because it's something where, yeah, I've had my own level of scrutiny when you kind of talk about prepping. So in social situations such as like with family or within my career, that's not something that I usually talk about. So when there is other people that have a similar mindset, it's always great to converse about it, you know? It's important.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people have woken up because of the last 2 years to the prepping idea, only because at the beginning, I would see on YouTube or the news, people just fighting over toilet paper. Like, how pathetic is that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
And,
agree.
you know, I hate saying that, right? Everybody's looking out for themselves one way or the other, right? And they don't think about anybody else. But having that in mind, that's one of the, well, other than living in Canada here in the winters, right? I really never thought of it, but I'd have a good, not a good stock of food, but good, not like I do now, but enough to get me through 3 or 4 weeks if because of the weather in the winter from I'd say maybe late October to maybe late April. You know what I mean? Get some of those rainstorms and have a power outage. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know. But after this what's going on for the last 2 years, it woke me up and said, well, I better start doing something about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big time. So people are fighting over some simple things, and you're seeing it on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. I'll hold my thought. Don't worry. Go ahead.
No, well, I was just gonna say that's such a nice thing about YouTube is inspiring people, inspiring each other to learn new skills. Like you see lots of videos about learning how to sew and just to become more resilient in different ways. And I just wanted to take a quick moment here and mention just a couple hellos to some people on the chat. It looks like Jeannie is still here over in Ontario with shopping a superpower. I think it is, especially when you're planning your preps. We've got Abitibi Ripley over in Chilliwack. Raising House and Home is an awesome channel. You guys definitely check that out. We've got Gary up in Kitimat Terrace area who's going to be starting a garden this year. We've already talked about it, so hello. It looks like Nene was getting cold, so she's stepped out, but thank you so much for stopping by, and let's definitely support Nene's channel. Check it out. We've got Paul here who has a channel, a well-established channel. He's been doing this for a long time. He's down on the Lower Mainland as well, also on Instagram, so please check out his channel. And Martin down in Fayetteville in North Carolina is here. So awesome to see you. Thank you for taking some time in your day to stop by and have a coffee with us. And Arkwildman, is there anything you want to add to the list of skills you think, and you know, maybe if it's not, maybe even a skill that a person aspires to learn in the coming year?
Fire making, I'm pretty good at that too.
Yeah. What's your favorite method for going about that?
I love the old flint and steel.
Yeah, it's pretty quick for you. Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just always the one that ends up like, because I love like filling in the blank space, right? So whenever I'm on a stream, it'll hardly ever be a quiet moment. And then I end up just like rambling all the time, and I want to like get to know people, and I get excited, and then I like start rambling even more. And it's not even like a point of nervousness. It's just because I've become like very comfortable on stream specifically. But it's something where I don't know. Like I just don't want to be that person talking all the time either, because I love it when people give each other fair turns as well. So I always just want to give other people place. Well, it's just this random South African guy just rambling on again. It's just
No, it's great. I love all the things you have to contribute. Especially, I remember we were all chatting on Survival Living's live stream, and we were talking about some of the mining stuff in South Africa, and everybody has such an interesting thing to contribute here. And one of the times I was most impressed recently with your channel, Guardian, is where when we were over in England, we had a comment on our channel from somebody who was seeing some of the amazing items that we had access to and saying, well, that's great, but we don't have anything like that where they live down in South Africa. So I sent a message over to Guardian, and he actually responded with voice messaging to explain sort of some ideas to navigate around that for this person. So it's really neat way to, share ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's also that distance that a lot of people feel when they get into prepping as well. A lot of people feel a certain level of anxiety because as they start their whole prepping journey, if you want to really phrase it as that as well, something that I like to phrase it as, because it is a journey, it's almost a lifelong survival path as well. Like a lot of your mentality comes into it, and you've got to kind of live in a different way. You've got to look at things that'll last a lot longer, redundancies as well. You've got to start seeing things like that. But anyway, the thing that happens with a lot of people is when they start getting into prepping, they definitely have that feeling of anxiety because they feel like they're so far away from people that some of the people that are out there that will go ahead and show like the most immense preps, and they just feel like there's a far distance between that. Are you all right, Mr. Van City? Did he lose signal there for a second?
Yeah, maybe I'm sure he'll be back.
All right, sure. Yeah, but there's just that feeling that people, some people as well come in from the tactical angle where they have all the tactical gear from the beginning, and they'll show people like the vast array of different defensive utility objects that they have. That's the best way I'll phrase it. Certain things that just look like they spent like a vast amount of money within prepping. And a lot of the time, if you go further into the journey of survivalism, and you'll find a lot of the primitive survivalists, they have that whole saying, and I really believe that the more you know, the less you need. So it isn't really about like having an abundance of gear, but the gear is essentially there just to dampen and soften the blow between our current livelihood and our dependency on the grid compared to not having the grid available. So it's just to kind of cushion that journey and that transition between modern day living and a more primitive lifestyle. So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's great.
But I mean, you speak to people about prepping, and specifically, there's you got to know in a social setting when to kind of bring up if people are kind of interested in it. You really got to gauge and read the room sometimes. It's if you just start speaking about prepping, it's the most isolating thing ever. It's like, wait, so you think the world's going to potentially end sometimes? And it's because of normalcy bias. Normalcy bias is obviously the fact that people don't really want to believe that things could potentially go wrong because your subconscious is kind of pre-programmed to have it as a defensive mechanism because stress and anxiety are really bad for the body. So your mind and your subconscious understand that. And because your subconscious and your body work in tandem, they don't want to have too much stress because that really is bad. So then instantly what you'll end up doing is a large amount of people will instantly dismiss the prospect of things turning south. So that's when like normalcy bias kicks in and people think you're crazy because you want to master the ways of survivalism and you want to prepare. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, the thing like I've noticed is when you're talking about that tactical stuff and all that, it's only because home defense and stuff like that is when the food runs out, people start becoming hungry. They will do anything to get your food. And I mean anything. You know what I mean? And what do you got to do to protect it? You know what I mean?
That's why we need to get more people prepping because prepping, surprisingly, on the system, we're not as big of a weight because we already have the preps we don't go last minute shopping if things turn south. So the more people that we have prepared, the less of a strain it is on society and communities in general, because we've got more people that are thinking ahead. So that's why advocating for prepping is a really good thing.
Yeah. You know, I do agree with that, but there are some people that just won't wake up to that fact. You know what I mean? Because they think, oh, the government's got it all under control, this, that, and the other. Well, hey, when people start walking off their jobs, like the truckers, the police officers, the doctors, well, you know, sooner or later, there's going to be more, right? And it's going to come to a halt where the government doesn't have control, you know?
Yeah, but we have to keep it kind of light on our channel, because otherwise we won't be able to continue with our channel. I wanted to ask, it looked like there was a question here from Abitibi to Mr. VP. Are you the one that landed in my backyard last summer with your helicopter?
Maybe. No, I don't think it was me last summer. Not that I recall. Not that I know where he lives, but I don't recall that one specifically.
So did we get everybody's superpower? I guess one of mine would be I can make a map if you give me a compass and a piece of paper, because I'm, you know, I used to do a lot of exploration, kind of like you know, like when you think of a prospector, like that's what my background is. So with very few tools, I could make a map of a house or a property pretty much to scale. I don't know how. I only think that would matter if you're trying to, you know, relocate and build some homestead or something. I'm not sure it would always be that helpful, but you know, maybe a conversation at a party or something.
Well, it's because it's a unique thing, though, because not everybody can do that. The more rare a trait is, and the more rare a skill is, the more valuable it becomes, right? It's because it's about commodity, and that's why that does really matter. That's something, and everything else that you're doing, you're saying that you're like well traveled, and within that, the prospecting side to it as well is definitely a prepping aspect.
Well, comfort in complete isolation. I've spent many, many months working in the wilderness with just food drop-offs by helicopter and one assistant with me, and some people have like the opposite of like when they feel closed in, they feel nervous of large spaces, and I don't have that for some reason. So I don't mind being alone, and I think we all need to prepare our mental resiliency, because you know there could be times where, you know, whether it's just a localized issue where we're home for a long period of time, just being comfortable just with, you know, less or not as many people or things like that, I think is a skill. And I know that Mr. VP, wouldn't you fly and have to just kind of sleep next to your helicopter in the desert?
Yeah, that's that was a long time ago. That was when I was doing aerial stock mustering, cattle mustering there. We'd move from property to property, and basically you'd have a rollout bed, a swag that you'd carry with you in a little helicopter, and like an overnight bag and a sat phone and a fishing rod and a rifle. And yeah, you'd sleep out under the stars. It was good.
So did Mr. VP, when you were out in the isolated period that you were in, with like in the middle of the forest kind of thing, was it Mr. Van City with his amazing accent that popped up and was there with a helicopter? Is because I mean, yeah, when you got a good look, you know, he's a good-looking guy, and then he's got the amazing accent, and he pops up with a helicopter. I mean, wow. Like,
well, here, I mean, since you ask, and you know, we're a community here, I'll actually tell you, it's kind of funny. So I think it was like around 2010 when I first met the other VP up in Aerodrome in northern Saskatchewan. So I was flying around doing some work up in northern Saskatchewan, which makes me laugh at those videos Canadian Prepper put out recently, because like that's where both of us have worked up there, not for fun, like that was our life is working in northern Saskatchewan. But I remember meeting him at a picnic table, and I was, dressed like I would, dressed for the bush. You have to wear so much stuff. The bugs are so bad up there. And I remember we were talking. I don't think he remembers, but he wouldn't talk to me. He was sitting on a picnic table, and I was the only two of us around. I was waiting for the helicopter I was in, and he wouldn't talk to me. I was trying to make light conversation about Australia, and yeah. But anyways, we worked on all sorts of the same projects. We knew each other way before we ended up becoming a VP team. We worked alongside of each other in random scenarios, and I think, like, I understand that job, and he understands my job, and so that made it easy. Plus, when you just get along with somebody. But it was really funny, yeah, because he wasn't very chatty.
Was he playing the strong silent type? Was that what you were doing, VP?
I'm not too sure at the time. I remember the location, and obviously
the picnic table.
The picnic table. I remember the picnic table. I don't think I specifically remember the conversation, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, you seem like the strong silent type.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
anytime I've seen you up there, you seem like quite quiet, unsure of what to say. But
I think it's always good to listen. You can learn a lot by listening.
Yeah, I understand that. You see, I don't do enough of that, though. It's not like I wish I did listen more. I think that I try to understand where people are coming from, but I do think that listening is definitely a skill that I could also work on. I'm good at rambling on about any topics, but when it comes to listening, I'm also good at not talking too much and understanding when I am talking too much, like I'm doing now. But like listening is something that I could definitely improve on, and I know that, It is a good skill.
It's wonderful to be able to keep the conversation going, because you need people who talk, and you need people who listen, because it complements each other. So everybody has a place. It's perfect. I also wanted to mention, because there are lots of people listening, which is we're super grateful that you guys are all here. I'm going to I have tried to put some of the links to the channels in here, but of course, as a reminder, we've got Guardian Prepping, we've got Arkwildman Survival, we've got Lewis's channel, and we've got ShadowScoutSwede. So I'll do a community post after with all the links, so that people will see, so they can check out these awesome channels, because there's quite a diverse range of skills here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll also put a community post and link this the live stream that we did now. I'll also put that on my community post, and then people can go and check out check out your channel as well. I think that what you guys have got going is incredible, and I just really appreciate being able to be on the panel today. And next time I'm on the panel, if I am on your panel again, I won't be chatting too much. No, and also, I'd like to introduce you to one person in specific. If I may, she even had her hair done today. It's my wife. She has been here all the time, and I just want to also introduce you to the more intellectual part of who we are as Guardian Prepping. So, and the way prettier part than this thing. This what I've got. So, you just want to say hello quickly, love.
Oh, hi.
I'm actually very hot at work.
Yeah, she's pretty caught in depth in the work and that, but I just wanted to, I'm very proud of how pretty she is, so I love her just popping on here for a second. It's like, I don't know, maybe my talking did me justice for once, 10 years ago, and maybe I spoke in the right way that made it seem like I was more interesting than I really am.
You actually had a really nice bike.
I did have a nice bike. I've always had a nice bike though. I love motorcycles, so like. I don't know how to fly a helicopter or anything cool like that, but I do know how to ride a bike.
That's good. Yeah, I have a bike also. I like bikes.
Nice.
Yeah,
what do you ride? Do you mind cars? Sorry.
I've got a KTM 1190 Adventure.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
He
man.
actually looked at that exact bike when he was bike shopping.
Yeah.
Oh,
I also
yeah.
I ride a Transalp XL 700. So I also
cool.
do adventure motorcycling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got, but KTMs are, there's
No, there's just a joke, yeah, in South Africa that if you have a KTM, you need an ATM.
yeah.
Oh,
Because
really?
Oh,
the KTM is super expensive here in South Africa.
Because of the import costs and stuff as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Like it makes
Yeah.
it a lot worse than it would be in another country. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty unfortunate for you guys. It makes it cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
But the Transalp is pretty good for the Transalp on and off road is more of an on road centric. But I'd say it's a 70-30 on road to off road. But it is nice just for a little bit of trails and for some of the farm roads. And I've been loving that bike because I don't know. I'm such a little kid when it comes to bikes. Like I can feel it here in my heart. I'm like, oh man, like
I used to have.
Yeah.
I had the when I was in the UK before I left for Australia. So this is over 20 years ago. I had the 750 V-twin Honda Africa Twin that I loved.
Yeah,
that was a really solid bike back then.
Yeah, those will last forever. There's
Yeah.
definitely so much reliability behind them. That's incredible. I don't know. I think that motorcycles as well have always kept me. Have always been something that I've wanted to push myself in my career as well, so that I can have access to a decent motorcycle. So even when I started off, I won't tell you the whole journey now of myself and motorcycles, but I'll tell you a little story just for like 30 seconds. So a friend of mine, his father had a farm, and on the farm, and I was about 13 at the time, and then he had an old Honda Cobra, like it is a very beaten down farm bike on the property as well. And I asked him and I negotiated with him, and he said that I could work the motorcycle off. So I worked there for about 8 months on the farm as well, and I worked off the bike, and it wasn't running for the first year. But I'd go out on it even though it wasn't running, and I was busy working on it and operating on it. And I'd just go and sit there on the motorcycle. And because my father and my grandfather were both heavily invested in motorcycles, it kind of made me feel like I was at home in a way when I'd sit on a bike. And that's why even till this day, if I hear a bike outside, I get like my tail wags. I'm like, oh, there's a bike. Like, is it coming? So yeah, it's just a little bit of story behind myself and motorcycles, you know.
No, it's cool. That's cool. I think it kind of brings out the younger part of all of us, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like the off-road stuff, like the dirt bikes, the four-wheelers, the skidoos, the jet skis.
Four-wheelers, yes, 100%.
You got the attention there.
Yeah, I had a four-wheeler, and it had a plow on it. I put it on there. I bought it crappy tire, and it's when I was living in Grand Valley a few years back, and it was great to drive in the winter. Great, as long as you had new tires. Do donuts, do everything. You know, it's fun. Anything to get that rush.
There's a different experience.
That's why I want to go join up Mr. Van City there and jump out of the choppers a couple of times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are you referring to the?
I've only done it once. I won't do it again.
Oh, I'd do it, man. I'd be your jumper, man.
Yeah.
I'll just take this opportunity that if anybody hasn't seen it, there is a video on our channel. I know our channel is a bit of a variety channel, but there is a video of Mr. VP dropping off the Everest skydive team out of a helicopter. The video is probably like a month ago it went out, and you can see them jumping out. And I think, wasn't that one of like the world record for sky jumps or skydive jumps?
Oh, I don't think that one was, but it was part of at the time they were trying to do world record tandem. I think it was a world record at the time tandem landing. So it was the highest elevation landing for a tandem up the Khumbu Valley down from Mount Everest. That's pretty cool.
The video is so funny because everybody's like, you're flying, so you're busy, and then everybody is just sitting there, and then all of a sudden they all just jump out.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I'd do that, man, and I'd take a running leap out there.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
found it. I did one tandem. The only ever skydive jump I've ever done was a tandem with a guy, an instructor, out of the side of the helicopter that I had been flying through the day. I got talked into doing the tandem jump, and I didn't enjoy it. I think it was so loud, you know, the wind in my ears, and just I don't know. I'd much rather just do the flying, I think.
What was
It's
the
the
title of
adrenaline.
the video? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you can call me an adrenaline junkie, but yeah, it's the adrenaline rush for me.
Oh
Makes
yeah,
you feel makes
yeah.
you feel alive, man.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even a 60-year-old would do it, you know, and says, yeah, you know, makes me feel alive, right? To be on
Yeah.
death's doorstep. Yeah, you'd feel alive
Yeah.
for that time, you know.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot. I mean, everyone that was doing it was pumped doing it, and maybe I was just, you know, spending so much time in the air anyway. I just didn't get the thrill that.
Yeah, you're used to it, right?
Yeah, maybe it was just maybe it just kind of dulled it for me a bit. But I think it was just more the uncomfortable, and I think that the harness wasn't fitting right, and I don't know.
And it was really
If
loud,
somebody,
wasn't it?
yeah, if somebody asked me if I wanted to do it again, I'd pass. But everyone else that was doing it absolutely loved it. So it's not like I'm, you know, saying don't.
Yeah, I
Don't do
remember.
it. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I remember cutting down trees in Grand Valley there and splitting it for firewood. And, you know, when I first started it, yeah, it was a 24/7 rush. I could, you know, get up at 4 o'clock, you know, get my stuff ready. And then, you know, some nights I wouldn't get any sleep from maintenancing everything.
Yeah.
But I'd be up at, you know, go back out. And then, but that feeling of when I cut them down off the ground, right? But there was still the odd tree, you know, like, you know, somebody would ask me to remove a tree or something, and where I could handle it, and then insurance wouldn't be a problem, and then be like 60, 70, 80, 90 feet tall, you know, and when it would go my way, yeah, you know, I'd drop it just the way I wanted. I'd still get that adrenaline rush, you know, because it's yeah, well, it's just, you know, when you're cutting the trees down, the bigger they are and the fatter they are, and it goes your way. It's like, yeah, it went my way this time, right? You know, you didn't break the saw, you didn't hurt yourself, stuff like that, right? You know, and it comes down in 30 seconds because you got a brand new chain on there. You know, but yeah, you still get the odd adrenaline rush, but it died down.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it looks like we have a question from Ripley. I don't know if anyone wants to jump on and answer this one because I'm not sure who it's for, but it was, how do you not get depressed? It's probably the biggest challenge right now, perhaps a topic for another chat. I mean, I just wanted to quickly start. We will wrap this up soon, but I just wanted to start by saying, you know, there's so many ways that we can prepare. There's obviously, you know, grocery hauls, and we post lots about that. But then there's the whole being fit, or you know, the physical side, which you know we talk about a bit. And then there's the whole mental resiliency part, and that's a big part. And in some ways, one can argue it's the biggest part. To especially, you know, there's some, you know, unusual times, and if you're in a preparedness-minded individual, probably gravitate towards topics about what's going on in the world and things like that, and it can be a lot to take in, right? So does anybody have a comment about how they work through the mental resiliency part? Why don't we start with Shadow?
Well, the mental part of it is to keep your mind going. You need to keep your mind busy. Play games, play Sudoku or whatever you like. Because if you don't do anything, and you will be bored, and if that goes too long, you will be depressed. at some point. It will take a while, but you will be depressed because your brain gets bored, because your brain needs some exercise too. So keep your brain, keep yourself busy, keep your brain busy, build something, build a do a new project, think of new projects for the future, things like that. Keep yourself busy. That is the best thing to prevent to get depressed. And that is the problem why many people get depressed, because they don't keep them busy. They don't keep their minds busy.
How about you, Arkwildman? Do you want to add anything to that?
I spend a lot of time in the woods, and it helps.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Guardian? Anything to add?
Yeah. I've always got a little bit to add, even if it's just a 5 cents of information. But yeah, I think when it comes to like depression, and that's exactly what Shadow Scout was saying, to keep yourself busy. It's really important. And then, of course, Arkwildman as well, connecting to nature and just having like, just getting away from all of it sometimes, you know, with all the social media and everything like that, just being able to take a step back and just spend a bit of time in the woods as well, or even if it's in the garden, just try and sink yourself, you know, earth yourself. Go into the garden without shoes if it's possible. You know, if you're physically capable of going into the garden without shoes on, stand on the grass for a bit, stand on the ground and just earth yourself a little bit. I don't get too heavily into that, but I definitely know that there's a lot of relevance in that. And just, yeah, I think just to try and keep yourself, something that's really strange is a really good trick as well, is if you smile, like, I have a very goofy smile because I've got such a wide mouth sometimes. Like, see how wide that is? But anyway, what I'm saying is that if you smile and like fake a smile, and you hold it for a minute or two, your body can actually pick it up. You guys can look into it if you want as well. Your body can pick it up that there's actually happiness happening over here, and can actually reflect that over an amount of time as well. So even a fake smile with nobody else around you for like 2 minutes, just faking a smile and holding it can have a certain positive influence. But then, of course, it can also be mental. But yeah, what they were saying about connecting with nature and keeping busy is exceptionally important. Yeah, just to keep happy and positive. And mountain biking recently has been great for me. I've been loving that. Yeah.
I do need to ask Mr. VP, because I do know that some of your work is emergency related. It's not, you know, it's not all like, anyway. So sometimes there's stressful situations. So how about yourself? Any suggestions?
I think I'd probably have to go back to some of the questions earlier with relation to what's a superpower, and mine in certain aspects is good at being able to compartmentalize certain portions of my day, be it, you know, stressful scenarios, maybe at work, or, you know, if you're picking up somebody in a situation where they've had an accident, and then reflecting on that at a later date, you know, so you can kind of file it away. I think going to what some of the other people have said here with relation to, you know, depression, I think it's on not allowing a person's self to get too down, is just being open to discussing with people, you know, some of your feelings and thoughts, and not feeling too isolated with those. But as far as work's concerned, I think for me, I can compartmentalize stuff, whether that's sometimes good or not. It works for me.
I find gratitude's helpful. Well, first of all, accepting that there's going to be just radical acceptance of that. Sometimes it's not going to feel good, right? Because we have all the different feelings that are part of being a human being, and sometimes it doesn't feel good, and that's okay. and just sort of accepting it and hoping it'll pass is one, and gratitude for little tiny things. There's some comment before about progress or getting something done, or just it could be I have a bunch of cans and they don't have Sharpie expiration dates on them yet, so I'm gonna go and do those, and that feels like I've done something. But gratitude, is important, and a lot of you guys who are interacting with channel know that I used to work as a paramedic. I used to work as a backcountry paramedic, and I've been there on days when it's the worst day of a really bad day for somebody. And so there's a bit of a piece in days that aren't like that. Like if it's a day and things are going okay, it's okay if they're not going awesome, but at least they're just going okay, and striving for contentment rather than, doesn't have to be super awesome, but just contentment and just it's okay is something that I try to be grateful for. Does anyone have anything to? And I do like the part about talking about it and reaching out, because it's amazing how many people can relate. I mean, even I'm just looking in the comments here, and like I said, it's first time doing a panel, but other people are relating. So as soon as someone comes up and says, I'm having a hard time, so many people will come and say, oh yeah, me too, and have you tried this? And that support is really great. So talking about it and being open to that is really important too.
Yeah,
I like to
Sorry.
spend time researching. Researching I find is good. Prepper related research, be it stuff to improve our just our stores, improve our kit, just work related kit and stuff that we can incorporate into prepper supplies. I find that fun. So I spend quite a bit of time doing that.
We are gonna have to wrap this up soon. I do know that ShadowScoutSwede has Saturdays a really good live, so definitely check that out. Next time we've got to get Moments with Us on here and Paul on here as well. Abitibi has a channel too, so please check that out. And I just wanted to ask though, does anybody have because Mr. VB just talked about the excitement of research, and I know all of us can relate to that about something to do with preparedness. Is there kind of a neat topic, even if it's something that's not positive, like the trucker issue, that they're researching, or like a little side interest that you'd share with us here? How about you,
Well,
Arkwildman? Oh, sorry.
No. I'll go first. I can definitely hold my thoughts. I speak so much that I've got to do that all the time. I remember to hold my thoughts, so go for it. Yeah.
I like watching and researching on different channels like Ice Age Farmer and Dabu, and just to get a different variety of opinions.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I think it's surprising how many people can just, even if it's similar things you've heard before, just that little bit extra that somebody contributes that you haven't thought of, or just opens up another, rabbit hole of research. It's kind of exciting. You can easily get lost in that stuff. And I think it's good when we get into a situation like this where we can share those things, because ultimately, collectively, you can, a person can reduce a lot of research time by sharing, some of the key things that have been sourced. I think, there's a lot of good things out there, but there's a lot of rubbish.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that also go on the more side of fear mongering, that kind of just, 2 months left and then SHTF type of thing or something like that, They'll give you fear mongering information, and I think that's kind of can be counterproductive, but it can also get people's attention. And if you can get people's attention in sometimes, that's also a way to share skills, because now that you've got their attention and then you share skills, you're actually helping them essentially. So I do understand a little bit of the fear mongering side, but I try and kind of, avoid it for the most part.
Yeah, we've got some channels that that we see on a regular basis that we feel are clickbait titled, thumbnailed, but they're certainly on the scale, on the spectrum, higher up the spectrum of fear mongering. And I think that's just, I think it's kind of twofold in a way. Yeah, you know, it's quite dramatic, but I think sometimes to shift somebody's mindset into thinking a certain way, there's got to be a dramatic shift to get you into something to begin with. And maybe that's the thing that sparks a person's interest, and then at a later date, you know, they realize it was clickbait, but it's got them on a certain thought path, which is sometimes, you know, ultimately a good thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. Got somebody that I look up to quite a lot as well that also does those type of contents, and I've had a brief conversation about specifically that with him, and it's exactly what you're saying, you know, just to get more people informed as well, and just to get them, you know, just to get that first little push there so that they can get into that rhythm of prepping.
Yeah, I mean, I think prepping's got such a it's such a broad, you know, broad topic, broad thesis, but it's you know, yeah, it's not for everybody. And I think it's just a case of being aware that, you know, the status quo or the trajectory of things as the way they are right now is, you know, is something getting better in society or getting worse? And my personal belief is things are in a downward trajectory. You know, we're seeing, you know, government monetary policy becoming reckless or more reckless. We're seeing, you know, supply shortages. We're not in a stage of society where we're seeing prosperity through natural growth. Things are forced. So I think people should be aware of that, and whether it's, you know, prepping that kind of makes people understand more of it, or if we can introduce some of the community to certain channels that make people understand, you know, the basics of monetary policy that so many people don't really understand how they work. I think it's important because, you know, I don't know what it's going to look like in 10 years from now, and certainly don't want to be a fearmonger, but you know, there's often two paths. You know, is it getting better or is it getting worse?
I think a lot of things. It's obviously good for us to hold on to as much hope as possible, and even when things seem really shaky, to be calm. And I'm sure that you also practice that very efficiently, you know, within your career as well. Just understanding that if things do kind of seem like they're all going south, to just kind of have that hope, you know, just to hope that things are not going to turn south, but to just make sure that you're prepared enough that if they do, or rather when they do, that that you can just look after the people that are close to you, because it's about protection and love at the end of the day. Making sure that I never need to be in the predicament where I look down at my daughter who's hungry. I look at her eyes and she's looking up at me and she's hungry, and I can't do anything about it because I don't prep. So I think that prepping in a lot of ways and the survival skills can really come into play when you just want to protect the people that you love, and that you have love as the main driving force behind why you're doing what you're doing instead of fear. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, we might take this opportunity to wrap things up. Like I said, there'll be a community post with everybody's channels. I mean, a bunch of you are already always doing these chats together and stuff, so it's not like new people, but there are actually quite a few new people. And I just wanted to mention, of course, so I don't know where the labels are. They should be there, and they will be there next time. But myself and the person in the middle bottom, we're the Event City Prepper channel. The top middle, we've got Guardian Prepping. On the top right, we've got Arkwildman Survival. Thank you for stopping by and chatting with us. We've got Lewis M down in the bottom left. And then we've also got ShadowScoutSwede in the bottom right. They're all channels, so please check them out. And of course, in the comments, there's some other channels chatting away as well. So thank you so much for coming by, and definitely, if you like these kind of format chats, definitely go over to ShadowScoutSwede's channel and check out when the next Saturday chat is gonna when it's on. Do you want to add anything about that, Shadow?
Last Saturday I didn't had any because I had my 22 anniversary celebration with my wife. So married for 22 years. So that's why I didn't had my stream that Saturday. But I will have my stream this Saturday. So at 8 p.m. Swedish time. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Central time,
Yeah.
1 p.m.
Yeah. So 11 a.m. our time, Vancouver time.
Happy late
Yeah.
anniversary.
Thank you, Arkwildman.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
that's a big thing to celebrate as well. And before we close off, if I can just say one last thing, thank you for having me up on the panel. I truly appreciate it. It's very nice to meet you, Mr. VP. And I have
Thanks, you
seen a
too.
little bit of your content. Just before we do go, that video that you guys were talking about that you released about a month ago, what was the title of that? Do you guys remember?
Yeah.
With the
Yeah. I'll check it out. Just 1 second here.
Yeah, so the last thing that I was going to say on the way out as well is thank you for having me up on the panel. It was really nice to meet you. And yeah, I love the people that are on the panel right now. It's really nice to have familiar faces here as well. And I look forward to speaking to you guys again sometime. If you're interested, my wife and I will always be up for a chat as well, just to speak about some more prepping stuff at any point. If you guys were interested in a bit of a chat, maybe speak a bit about motorcycles, speak forever about that. Yeah, we could definitely have a bit of a chat about that at some point. Really nice to meet all of you. And I'm going to pop out here and let you close off on your guys' side as well. And really was an honor to speak to everybody. Thank you for allowing me up here today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. I know it's late over there, and yeah, the title of the video is called. It's got the very mild title of "Skydive from a Helicopter at Mount Everest?" ? So, if you're interested in seeing that, please check it out. It's pretty cool. And thanks, Louis, for taking the time to join us and give us some of your ideas and insight. And we're going to end the broadcast here. So thanks a lot. And you guys all have a good rest of your day and evening.
Okay.
Thanks for
See you guys.
having me.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye, Tim.
Bye.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.